Welcome to Unity of Charlotte. It's a cold, crisp morning, but spring is not far off. And I want to say that was one lively conversation pre-service this morning with our returning member for always, Fred Monroe. You are the maestro, and the rest of us gathering in. What a lively conversation, and what a great start. Here at Unity of Charlotte, our mission is to nurture a deep and mature experience of God through the practice of unity principles. Simply put, we are here to love, grow, and serve. I'm Reverend Pat Dre, and I am so glad that you are with us this morning and with us every Sunday, because we are a community of people dedicated to a true cause, which is recognizing that we are part of the one, that unity is the life that we live. So let's start today's service by sharing our statement of oneness, and then let that lead us into our opening prayer. So say together with me, there is one presence, one power in my life and the universe, God, the good omnipotence, there. And take a deep breath and let it out slowly and get comfortable in place. And know with me the following, that I and we emerge in 2021 into a whole new life. There is but one presence, one power, God the good. I am filled with faith, and I look to God for help in every need. God prepares the way for me to move ahead into 2021 with ease. God's love surrounds, enfolds, and protects me. All is well. As I emerge out of the COVID experience of 2020, I emerge with a whole new life. My life reminds me to maintain health and surround myself in an atmosphere of peace and joy, purity and prosperity. And I know that my reentrance is blessed as I am initiated into the vitalizing life of spirit, which fills me to overflowing with strength, with vigor, and with vitality. In my oneness with God, everything is now in divine order. All is well, and I have the fullness of joy. And for what is to come, I view this as blessed already, the bringer of prosperity, of harmony, and of healing. I put aside any ideas of hard work, difficulty, time-consuming activities, or any experience of exhausting resources. Instead, I recognize that all of this brings me to an opportunity to learn, to experience, to know joy and accomplishment. Each is a blessing and a gift to me, and then to the world. And so I say for myself, if I experience negative attitudes, feeling down, any physical inharmony, any lack or worry, that I make the solid intention and decision to engage in a quiet hour of study and of prayer, which flows through me, casting a new light, a new peace, and a new perception. And in this experience, I can view my situation and affairs differently, assured that God surrounds me and is within and provides everything that I need. And I use all of the resources I have within to bring forth what I require, to request it, and to know that it'll be provided. And in this way, for me, 2021 is my opportunity to flourish in purposeful living. And I am grateful right now for the peace that resides in my heart, which has its source in the One. And so join with me in knowing that this is true and coming into experience in saying, and so it is. Amen. And I want you to know that that prayer was inspired this week by my readings in Myrtle Fillmore's Healing Letters. It's such a beautiful book. I'm reminded this week, I've had many experiences of talking with many people in my life, many in unity and many people that I haven't talked to for a while. And I am reminded of the basic unity principle that thoughts are things, that thoughts manifest. And how this has unfolded in these conversations is an awareness that I don't necessarily have to keep saying to people that thoughts are things, that living it and being it in these conversations has extraordinary power. One conversation I had was with a delightful friend of mine that relatively new. I made friends with her last year, and she has experienced quite a number of people who have passed over this last year, people very close to her, her father, two close friends. One of the close friends' mother died within a day that he did. So it's been a very challenging year for her as these different anecdotes have mounted up. And she is an unusually upbeat person who has the ability to see the power in everything. And this has been extremely difficult, especially with the loss of the friend and the mother in the last week, and her brother at the same time. And so I say that my experience of this time with her on the phone was more in my being and knowing for her that thoughts manifest, and seeing her through her journey of perceiving these transitions as more than losses, and in the power of just affirming her as being the ongoing loving person in their lives that go on forever. And so I urge you to remember this unity principle as you live your life, and as you are present in each of your conversations and connections with people, however so brief, because being the reality that thoughts manifest emotions within us and radiate outward is very powerful. So I thank you again for being with us in this marvelous morning here at Unity of Charlotte, and I welcome all of you that are joining us on Zoom or on YouTube. And we love our discussions prior to the service and after the service. And if you are joining us on YouTube, do subscribe and do like. If you or anyone you know is in need of prayer, do use our Unity prayer line at our website, and we respond immediately upon seeing your request with prayer for you or your loved ones. And we are in deep appreciation for your reaching out, because we know that the prayer for you or your loved ones has ramifications for them, but then beyond them. And it always comes back to us as we pray for all in the truth. You can also call Unity's telephone prayer ministry, Silent Unity, by dialing 800-NOW-PRAY for a personal affirmative prayer. And now for our announcements. The Monday Women's Lunch Group meets the third Monday on a Zoom call. You can bring your lunch or your beverage, but enjoy at 11:30 the call to connect with other women in this community. The Unity Men's Group meets at the church the second and fourth, the third Sundays. Help me out, Alan.
Second and fourth.
Second and fourth. It was third Sunday only once. Okay. The second and fourth Wednesday. I'm reading the wrong thing. The carousel of my doing announcements. So I've got it right. Our Unity Men's Group is the second and fourth Wednesdays. They're currently meeting at the church. At whatever time they change their venue, we will make an announcement ahead of time. And I will say that the men's group is always in their presence, holding in mind the Unity family and the sacredness of the space that we have right here. The Affirmative Prayer and Meditation Group has moved back to its Tuesday evenings at 7:15 because that has turned out to be the better time. And so join with us in setting a prayerful energy for the church, for the city, for the world, and for our church future, and are attracting the perfect and right minister to our mission-centric vision for the church. And Dialogue as Service is now meeting at 1 p.m. on Wednesdays, so the time has changed, and do join us. We are continuing with Myrtle Fillmore's wonderful book, and at what time we switch to the new book, I'll give you a heads up so that if you so desire, you can give a gift to yourself and join us.
Book club today.
The book club meets today, which is the third Sunday, and they meet at 1 p.m. So please join the book club. They have a very nice and rewarding time together. The Course in Miracles is every Thursday at 9:30 a.m. And we have a very special event coming up. We are calling it Your Voice is Needed, because your voice is needed here at Unity of Charlotte. And anyone who is or has been or is now drawn to be in an active partnership with leading and supporting our vision of mission-centric church, please join us in this first of a series of co-creative dialogues, and let us hear your voice, and do become engaged in a way that clarifies the what, why, and how of the mission-centric process. And your mission-centric vision group is meeting on a frequent basis to further the idea and engage our wonderful community in the evolution of this extraordinary co-creative idea here at Unity of Charlotte. So this meeting is on Sunday, March 7th at 10:30 a.m. So what you will do is just simply stay on the Sunday service Zoom link. And we ask that when you are with us to contribute your ideas, thoughts, and questions as part of that meeting. I personally am really excited because I've had the honor to be on in these discussions, and I leave each one with a brand new level of energy about the envisioning process. And so you can all pray for me that I finally move through all of our announcements smoothly next week. And that way I know that I'll have it exactly right. Because if there's one thing that I wanted to do when I was a little child was get it right. Seems like I'm still putting effort into that, but we can all smile with that. I'm delighted to have our very own Reverend Jim, who was in good form this morning in our pre-service conversation. And His energy and his wisdom will be poured into this presentation, this service today, A Heart for Forgiveness. Thank you again, Reverend Jim.
Thanks, Pat. Good to be with everybody. Good to be chatting with folks before the service. Good to see my old friend Fred Monroe back with us. Absolutely lovely. And maybe we can all chat a little afterwards. I'm going to start us off by sharing our, get to my screen here. I'm going to share our February affirmation. Here we go. And I will move that so we can see it. There we go. Together we say, please read along. Together we say, divine love enfolds me and blesses me now. Trusting and accepting the loving nature of God enables me to open my mind and heart wide. I stand fearless in the presence of my Creator, knowing I am loved and cherished always. Divine love enfolds me and blesses me now. Well, again, thank you for being with us, and it's great to be with you here. We're going to listen to a little bit of music to take us into our time of prayer, of meditation, before the talk. So the theme this week is love, and I will be sharing that. So we're going to listen to a beautiful song by Karen Drucker. So I just invite you to sit back, make yourselves comfy, and listen to Karen remind us about the only thing there is.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose my
So I invite you, if you haven't already done so, to just find that comfy position. Let your body relax. Let your eyelids relax and your eyes gently close, very softly, if they will. Or gaze downward. Let your gaze drift downward, unfocused. And as you relax the body, feel the breath move through the body. Feeling each breath, staying focused on that breath, just at its own natural rhythm. In many of the ancient languages, the word for breath and the word for spirit are the same word. No coincidence. So as we feel the breath of life move through our body, we can imagine that life of spirit moving through us, living in us. Spirit, life, God, love, flowing in and out and through us, here with us every moment of every day. Available to us anytime we just take a moment and turn our attention toward it. So stay with that breath. Stay with that divine aliveness that is in you, with that divine aliveness that is you. Let it be the calling that calls you back over and over to that sacred place where you are and that you are. And let's just rest in that sacred space together, all of us together, for a few minutes in the silence. Continuing to feel that breath and that aliveness. Continuing to be present in this sacred space together. Maybe allow ourselves to become more and more aware of any quieting, softening, relaxing that is taking place. And may that allow us to begin to experience what we are, the truth of our nature, that which goes beyond the physical, beyond the separate. That which is constantly enfolded in and filled with love, presence, spirit. as creations of God, that is our true and timeless nature. And as children of God, as all interrelated brothers and sisters of one family, that is the true nature of everyone around us, whether they seem to be remembering or seem to have forgotten. May we remember that love and that presence for one another this day. For in that remembering for one another, we remember for ourselves. And our minds are healed and freed. And so as we prepare to let this time of meditation come to its end, I invite you again just to notice whatever peace or stillness or sense of presence is available in you. And then to gently begin to move fingers and toes, hands and feet. To feel a couple long, smooth breaths move through your body, bring you back to your body. And know that even as we prepare to open our eyes, that presence, that stillness, that timeless quality is with us right now, each and every one. And so we gently flutter our eyelids open. Take one last moment to appreciate that feeling. And to know that we are sharing that with one another right now and in every moment. Thank you, God. And so it is. It's amazing what we can do with a little regular spiritual practice. Glad Unity of Charlotte offers its gathering groups to help do that. Well, we'll let everybody come all the way back. And today, I'm going to offer a post-Valentine's Day talk. A post-Valentine's Day talk. It seemed appropriate. I'm calling it Big Love. Big Love. That title actually is kind of in honor of one of my favorite meditation teachers. Well, actually, his books, he's passed, but there's a great book called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind by Shunryu Suzuki, also known as Suzuki Roshi. This is my copy. It looks different. Versions look different. Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. If you can kind of ignore the very rigid sitting postures the Zen people encourage and just read his commentaries, it's like having a nice friend with me to encourage me in my times of meditation. One of the things Suzuki Roshi talks about is the difference between what he calls small mind and big mind. Small mind and big mind. Small mind being my little personal sense of human mind. Jim, small mind. Big mind being universal mind, what Unity might call God mind. And he reminds us that our small mind focuses on me, my thoughts, my desires, my worries, my ambitions. And small mind, I realized, also focuses on my own small ideas about love, about romance, about relationships. Rather small. Delightful as those things can be, they're still rather small ideas, not very universal, not very inclusive. I realized if there was that kind of a small mind and small idea of relationship, there had to also be a big mind equivalent. I realized that that would be big love, universal love, love for all things, love that includes all things. As the Apostle Paul says, a love that would be in which we live and move and have our being. So that big mind state that we can connect with, that we were just connecting with in our meditation, can open us up to what I would call big love. And the question for each of us is, are we willing to be open to that? Are we willing to let it show up? I've been fortunate, not fortunate, but I've had a number of experiences of what I call big love in my life. One was back in the mid-90s. I was having kind of my return to the hippie days, and I at that point I had bought a beautiful 70s VW camper bus, brown and white. The interior was avocado and brown plaid, curtains and seat covers. And that was my car for a number of years. And I was cruising around town in my happy little camper van one day and listening to the radio. And a song came on the radio, a Beatles song called I Will. Who knows how long I've loved you? You know I love you still, right? Love you forever and forever. Love you with all my heart. Love you whenever we're together. Love you when we're apart. And I'm driving down the road and I'm singing the song. And suddenly there are tears pouring down my cheeks. And I'm feeling literally washed over in this incredible, warm, lovely sense of just being loved. Just being loved. It's like taking a bath in it. And I'm singing and the tears are rolling down. And I realize God is singing to me and I am singing to God. It's one of the few times I've sang a duet with God. But the feeling was just absolutely incredible. And that's what I'm talking about when I talk about big love. I have other friends that have had different experiences. I've had different experiences, but that was one experience of what I call big love, a universal, all-encompassing love. It had nothing to do with who I was or how I was. I was simply loved. Now, normally, when we talk about love, we talk about love that's kind of categorized by our relationships, right? I mean, you and I have one version of love for our romantic partners. We have another version of love for our family. I have one version of love for my sons, another version of love for somebody else's kids or my friends, right? In fact, a lot of my friends may not actually fall in the love category. They may fall more in the like category. Think about Facebook, love or like, right? And it can get even stranger than that. Our small ideas about love can get even stranger than that. Maybe there's somebody we like, click like, and we decide, I'm going to bounce them up to the love category. So I click love. And then the question is, will they respond by moving me to the love category? Will they? Maybe they will. But what if they don't? What if they don't? Am I going to bounce them back to like because they didn't click me up to love? Or am I going to get offended and simply knock them out of even the like category? We do that, don't we? Things like that happen in our relationships. It's interesting because Jesus at one point says, I'm giving you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just like I've loved you, love one another. By this, people will know you're my disciples, will know you're my followers, because you love one another. Now, clearly, hopefully, Jesus wasn't talking about romantic love, about small love, right? Can you imagine what a mess it would have been if Jesus's followers he wants us to love one another, and they all begin to get romantically infatuated with each other and begin competing for each other's time and attention and affection. Would that actually be loving one another? Yet Jesus didn't say, I give you a new commandment, be nice to one another. He talked about something more than that. Like his predecessor, the Buddha, I believe he was pointing toward what I am calling today big love. Big love, something beyond niceness and kindness, but also something beyond romantic or relational infatuations. So one of my questions for today is it possible to fall in love in a big way without getting caught up in infatuation, possessiveness, competition? If we watch videos and TV and movies, if we read books and magazines, it's hard not to get indoctrinated. That's probably a good word for it. Indoctrinated. That there is or should be some special someone just for us, someone that'll make our lives complete. That's part of the current mythology of the United States. Probably other parts of the world too. Historically, it hasn't always been that way, but it's sure here now. Nowadays, we'll even project that myth onto animals, onto our pets or paired animals that we see, and we say, oh, look, it's found its soulmate, its life mate. And we tell ourselves sometimes, if we haven't found our special someone, our perfect soulmate, that something must be wrong. Something must be wrong. We've somehow failed. If you'll take just a minute and extract yourself from that cultural myth, you'll quickly recognize that, oh, that was small mind at work. That was small mind at work, promoting its own small concept of small love. Small love, not big love. Being a longtime student of A Course in Miracles, there's a wonderful section in the Course that deals with small love versus big love, we say. The Course in Miracles refers to these small, what I'm calling small love relationships, as special relationships. And when it says special, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. It knows that we're all wonderful. No one is special. But again, the Course talks about special relationships as based on small mind, small love, our very human attempts at limited love. What we might think of as normal if we weren't paying attention. So I'm going to read you a little section out of the Course that I often refer to as God's Guide for Dating and Relationships. God's Guide for Dating and Relationships. And it talks about these special small relationships. The special relationship, it says, is a strange and unnatural ego device for joining hell and heaven and making them indistinguishable. And the attempt to find the imagined best of both worlds merely leads to fantasies about both and the inability to perceive either as it is. Most curious is the concept of self, which the ego fosters in the special relationship. This self, think of yourself, seeks a relationship to make itself complete, that soulmate idea. I begin thinking of looking for a relationship to make myself complete because I don't think I am. Yet when it finds that special relationship, that special somebody that thinks it can accomplish this, it tries to give away and trade itself for the self of the other. This is not a union or a joining because there's no increase or expansion. Each partner tries to sacrifice or give away the self he doesn't or she doesn't want for ones they think they prefer. And then, and this is the interesting piece, it says, then they feel guilty for having given something of no value or less value in exchange for what they think they've taken from the other. How much value can you place on a self that you would give away to somebody else to get a better one? It goes on to say the better self that ego seeks, that our personality seeks, is always one that seems more special. More special. And whoever seems to possess that special self is loved for what can be taken from them. I think in 12-step programs, they call that taking hostages. Anyway, it goes on to say, where both partners see this special self in the other, the ego sees a union made in heaven, its idea of heaven. For neither one's going to recognize that they've asked for hell, and so they won't interfere with the illusion of heaven offered to them. Yet, if, as the Course says, illusions are all based on fear, deception, then there can be nothing offered. The illusion of heaven is nothing more than an attractive form of fear, in which the guilt is buried deep and rises in the form of fake love. I'll use the word fake love as love in quotes. Have you seen relationships like that? Where you see somebody and you see someone, or you see a friend that sees someone, they say, oh, if I just had that person, I would feel so much better. They make me complete. I'm going to give them this wonderful incomplete me, and I'm going to take the good that's in them. There we go. There we go. An interesting challenge. Somebody just messaged, where is that in the Course? It's on page 345. Page 345 in the text. Those are the kind of traps we fall into when we fall into small mind and small love. A few pages later, the Course goes on to observe, special relationship is an attempt to reenact the past and to change it. The imagined slights, the remembered pains, past disappointments, and perceived injustices or deprivations all get involved in these special small love relationships, each of which is a way of attempting to restore our wounded self-esteem, small self-esteem, by the other. It asks a very interesting question, one of the most interesting questions asked in the entire Course in Miracles, I think. It says, what basis would you have for choosing a special partner without your past? What basis would you have for choosing a special partner without the past? It goes on to say every choice is made because something evil or uncomfortable or unpleasant in the past to which you're clinging and which someone else has to come and save you from. What basis would we have in selecting among God's good creations, our spiritual brothers and sisters, except for memories of past hurts, or maybe imagined triumphs, whatever, craziness from the past? Who is asked to pay the price for soothing our wounds or our lacks? Oh, it's our new special friend. All this brings me to the remembering, or the sharing, that if we want to get past small mind, small love, small or special relationships based on the past, what we need to do is format the memory banks, right? Clear out the memories. Let go of that past stuff we've been nurturing and nursing and carrying around inside. Do whatever it takes to set the people from the past free, so we can become free to experience the loving creations that are all around us. That are all around us. All of them. So the Course in one point says, be innocent of judgment, free of judgment, unaware of any thought of evil or of good that ever crossed your mind about anybody. Let go of both your negative associations and the ones you think are positive. Let go of any thought of evil or of good that ever crossed your mind about anybody. Because right now you don't know them, it says. But you're free to learn about them and learn about them anew. They can be born again new to you and you to them without the past that condemned you both, that sentenced you to die. Now is that other one free to live as you are free, because an ancient learning has passed away and left a place for the truth to be reborn. Thank you, Robin, for giving us that talk on forgiveness and letting go last week. Let go of all the thoughts. The ones you thought you liked, the ones you thought you didn't. Let go of all of it. And truth will arise on its own. It's always been there. We just have been too busy with other things. Well, I don't know if Jesus ever fell in love the way we think of falling in love. He might have. Maybe he tried that. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. Have no idea if he was married or had intimate relationships. He might have. Wouldn't it be inappropriate? Maybe he didn't. Whether he did or not really doesn't seem terribly important, though, right now with the teachings that we have. What we know is he wasn't at all interested in teaching about any kind of special love or small love or romantic relationships, right? He doesn't condemn it. He doesn't advocate it. He doesn't address it at all. What he does address is what I'm calling big love today. He talks about that. He talks about finding it and sharing it. He says, as the Father has loved me, as I have experienced that divine love, so I have loved you. Abide in my love. Abide in that love, that big love. If you keep my commandments, if you keep my teachings, my precepts, the ideas I share, you'll abide in that love, just as I've kept the Father's commandments and abide in his love. Do you see where he's pointing toward? Staying with those high truth precepts we know about everyone. Staying with that so we can abide in that. He says, I've said these things to you so that the joy that's in me can be in you and your joy can be complete. Now that sounds like a pretty tempting offer. Complete joy. Complete joy. That's what I believe big love offers. Big love that we can't break up and dole out in little pieces to certain people, that we can't take from little bits of it from certain people. A love that we can't change from the love category to the like category, or back to the love category, or into anything else less. I'll pause here to mention there is nothing wrong or bad or naughty about the small and changeable forms of love that we've sought and shared in our relationships so far. There's nothing wrong with it. It feels good. It helps us remember our connection, or at least our desire to feel connected with others. Sometimes those connections last quite a while, right? Sometimes they last quite a while. But any type of small love is inherently unstable. You know, at the very least, our romantic partner is going to leave this planet, or we will. Or maybe the relationship will just shift and change. So then we find ourselves in love, and then, oops, no more. I feel love for somebody, and then something they do, right? Or something in their personality begins to irritate my personality. And, well, maybe they get shifted out of the love category back down to like, right? Or maybe we decide, my personality, my little small mind decides they're not even worth liking. They're not even worth liking. And I try to throw them out of my heart completely. A great spiritual teacher who I admire deeply once actually said many times, never throw anybody out of your heart. Never throw anybody out of your heart. You may not hang out with them. You may not invite them over for lunch, but never throw them out of your heart. Spiritually speaking, as spiritual beings, divinely connected, can we actually throw anybody out of our heart? Really? Don't try to. It's not helpful. So when those occasional less than loving thoughts occur, you ever have those less than loving thoughts that occur? Remember that your upsets and your dramas, those things that we experience, are happening at the level of small mind, human personality, small love. But you and everybody else on the planet is much more than that, much more than that. At the universal level, we are spirit, right? Timeless soul, timeless soul. We are actually big love already. That's why it can show up in our lives, because it's already here. It's already in us and in the others. Beyond your small mind, beyond our small ideas of love, we deeply love one another all the time, completely. Beyond our small thinking, our small ideas, lies that big love. And that big love loves everybody. And that big love and everybody else loves us all the time. Let that one sink in. Big love. God love. Reaching out beyond appearances and judgments to remind us that the very core of our being is love. That's why I love that song by Karen Drucker. There is only love. Only love. Or some little imagined something that occupies space in our mind and keeps us from noticing the big love. That's, I think, what Jesus meant when he said, abide in that love. Put your attention on that love. Abide in that love. That big love is not something that we can force to happen, or at least not something my little mind can force to happen, right? I can't go around demanding big love now, big love now. I'm going to make it happen. It doesn't work that way. But that said, in my life, I've had quite a number of experiences of big love, literally washed over by incredible feelings of being so loved, so loved. And I never consciously made any of them happen. I'm pretty sure that what opened me up to them was a couple of things. One was a process of ongoing daily spiritual practice, carried out as best I could, as regularly as I could, daily actually, but carried out to the best of my ability, remembering who I am, remembering who the others are. Some happened because I had become willing, more and more willing, to just love everybody. Just love everybody, you know? Doesn't matter what. Just love them. May not have lunch with them, but I will love them. I will love them. And in doing that, in choosing to take down some of the barriers, the internal barriers I had put up to different people, right? As I take down barriers to love that kept me from loving others, I open up space. I open up space in the walls that I had built. I begin making openings for big love to move through me and me to experience it. I know at least a couple of times I've experienced that big love also. It was because I really needed it. I was hurting. And I really needed that love. And there it was. And there it was. So my thought would be that in order for us to find and experience more experiences of this big love, which is here with us all the time, in order to allow it to arise more and more in our daily experience, we have to at least temporarily, let go of our stories, let go of our old stories of the past, the little judgments, the big grievances, the upsets that we've been tending and nursing and reminding ourselves of, stories about ourselves, stories about the others, the stories of what Eckhart Tolle sometimes laughingly calls, poor little me, poor little me. We have to turn our attention instead to big mind, to spiritual mind, to big love, rather than just the small level of the body and the personality and romances. as I was concluding with talking how to conclude the talk, it occurred to me that in our Sunday services, today included, we always end with the prayer of protection. Wherever I am, God is. And I thought, wow, wherever I am, big love is. And so I rewrote the prayer of protection. I'm going to invite you to share a little different version with me now. You can read it with me. Get to that. Here we go. Yeah. It's a little longer, but you'll hear the echo of the prayer of protection. And we'll share this again at the very end. So let's read this together. You can see it on your screen. The big love of God surrounds me. The big love of God enfolds me. The big love of God infills me. The big love of God shines through me. The big love of God watches over me. Wherever I am, the big love of God is, and all is well. Well, my prayer for you this week is that you may experience unexpectedly that big love of God that loves you so deeply and everybody else. Those experiences are what actually convinced me that God is love, that the very nature of God is love. Nothing else. Nothing else. And if you only get the experience to understand that, well, that's worth a lifetime. So that's my thought for the week. I'll let you think about that. Small love, big love, big love, big love, God love. And I'm still within the time limit. That's good. So we're actually coming to the part where we have an opportunity to share an offering. I will invite and encourage you to do that because Unity of Charlotte needs your financial support to continue doing what we're doing here. So let's continue to support Unity of Charlotte. You can do that by sending Sunday tithes and offerings to Unity of Charlotte at 401 East Arrowwood Road. Or by taking your phone or your tablet or your laptop and going to unityofcharlotte.org and clicking on the donate link. Easy way to donate. Either way works perfectly. And you can support the work of this ministry and just support the sharing of the unity message of who we truly are. And I'll invite you just to consider whatever it is that you have given or are going to give, intending to give right now. And together we'll share this prosperity blessing. Let us say together, joyously I give this gift, knowing the divine presence blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. Amen. Well, again, I thank you for being with us here at Unity of Charlotte. I look forward to seeing you again in a couple weeks, I think. I think I'm up for the first Sunday in March. We'll be looking at some more ideas of who and what we truly are. Truly are. Truly are. And you want to find out because it's actually quite beautiful. And I guess I will go ahead and close us. Excuse me. I will close us with our new version of the prayer of protection, just so it kind of sinks into your consciousness. And together, let us say one more time, the big love of God surrounds me. The big love of God enfolds me. The big love of God infills me. The big love of God shines through me. The big love of God watches over me. Wherever I am, the big love of God is, and all is well. And so it is, friends. And thank you for being here. Good turnout today. That's absolutely lovely.